The reasons why people who enjoy being alone after the age of 70 are frequently the most wise and happy in their later years. Ever wonder why some folks above the age of 70 appear to be perfectly content while they are spending time by themselves? As we get older, the demands placed on us to maintain a continual social presence begin to lessen. And for many people, the experience of solitude is not merely a desire but also a blessing. It is not about isolating oneself from other people, rather, it is about tuning into your own thoughts and becoming aware of the aspects of yourself that are frequently obscured by noise and obligations. In this video, we are going to discuss 7 factors that are not particularly loud but have a significant impact on why people who choose to live alone after the age of 70 might actually be the most sage of us all. Each of these reasons demonstrates a level of emotional fortitude, profound self-awareness, and a certain kind of inner confidence that can only be gained through life experience. Stay with us if you or someone you know is more comfortable spending time in their own company than they have ever been before. When you reach the conclusion of this film, you might have a completely different perspective on that decision, and you might even feel more proud of it. It's time to get started. First, a profound reverence for one's own inner tranquility. When a person reaches the age of 70, solitude typically refers to more than just being alone, rather of focusing on constant stimulation. It expresses a quiet resolve to safeguard one's own calm. Many people who are in their later years have spent decades balancing a variety of responsibilities, including raising children, working full-time jobs, maintaining residences, and making it through social commitments. Nevertheless, as individuals enter their latter years, the yearning for tranquility becomes more apparent to them. It is not because they become emotionally aloof, but rather because they have developed the wisdom to understand what truly satisfies the spirit. It's not uncommon for people who desire to be alone to not feel lonely. They have a keen insight. They no longer follow crowds, engage in constant planning, or engage in talk. In the peace and quiet, they are aware that there is room for thought. It is not a state of emptiness, rather, it is one of completeness. Consider Harold, who is 74 years old. He was the life of every card night and every cookout that he attended in the past. However, in recent times, he takes pleasure in sitting by the window with a cup of coffee, listening to vintage music, and watching the trees move in the breeze. Some individuals are curious as to why he does not engage in additional activities. However, Harold claims that the sense of peace that he experiences at those times is something that he was never aware of how much he required when he was younger. Silence is not at the heart of inner tranquility. One must strike a balance. When someone over the age of 70 chooses to spend their time alone, they are frequently making the decision to reduce the amount of chaos that used to be a part of their existence. The fact that noise, both literal and emotional, may wear out the spirit is something that they are aware of. And rather than filling every moment with something noisy or urgent, they have learned to appreciate the silence that exists in the world. The display of this kind of wisdom is not loud. In no way is it necessary. It is seen in the manner in which a person moves. You should talk more softly, move more slowly, or let go of the drama without the urge to win. Someone who has realized that serenity does not come easily is the one who possesses this trait. When you eventually give yourself permission to relax and stop trying to exert control over everything, you will find that everything just works out perfectly. The second reason is that it frees one from the obligation to satisfy the needs of other people. The gentle release of people-pleasing is one of the clearest signals that one has reached an advanced age and is gaining knowledge. When they reach the age of 70, many people come to the realization that they no longer have to continually seek approval. They have no intention of trying to win arguments, impress their neighbors, or appear to be someone they are not as they are. The decision to spend time alone is frequently a natural consequence of having that freedom. There were many elderly folks who, for many years, spent their time saying yes when they wished to say no. To avoid disappointing other people, they were willing to put up with things that were draining on them. Smiled even when they were exhausted. and attended events that they did not particularly love. However, as you get older, something changes. This causes your time to become more valuable, your energy to become more sacred, and your readiness to give up your own comfort in order to fulfill the expectations of another person to gradually diminish. Let's take Carol, who is 78 years old. She had a habit of feeling terrible whenever she declined invitations. Even when she had no desire to leave, she would show up with a smile and remain for a longer period of time than she had intended. On the other hand, she now offers a polite and self-assured refusal. It is not because she does not care, rather, it is because she has finally reached a point where she cares about herself enough to quit pushing herself past her limits. There is no selfishness in this. It's about having respect for oneself. Not only that, but people who love being alone over the age of 70 frequently possess that quiet strength. There is no longer any fear that they will be misunderstood of. When it comes to living their life according to their own terms, they are not waiting for permission. They have not only accepted the fact that not everyone will agree with their decisions, but they are also content with the fact that this is the case. When someone spends time by themselves without showing any signs of worry or apology, it conveys a significant message to you. In other words, it indicates that they have broken free from the arduous cycle of acquiring affection or approval. They have ceased shrinking in order to help other people feel more at ease. And within that area, they have found something that is quite advantageous. To achieve peace, applause is not necessary. I would appreciate it if you could use the second comment section below to let me know that you are continuing viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Let's proceed with our plans now. Third, a concentration on meaningful relationships rather than the amount of social connections. People tend to lose their desire to be surrounded by a large number of people as they get older. Additionally, in its place is something that is significantly more valuable, namely the pursuit of genuine connections. People who like being alone after the age of 70 are not shunning other people. In other words, they are opting for depth rather than breadth. They have realized that the number of individuals in their lives does not determine the level of tranquility that they experience. Whoever actually sees you, hears you, and respects you is responsible for this. When I was younger, being social frequently meant that I was constantly busy. Large gatherings, loud parties, and timetables that are jam-packed. On the other hand, the allure of huge groups has a tendency to fade away over time. It starts to seem like the small talk is pointless. The sound quality is more intense, as a result of the fact that the most nutritious talks now take place in private, one-on-one settings, or not at all, for many people who are in their latter years. Consider Leonard, who is 81 years old. He had previously been a member of a number of community boards and clubs in the area. In contrast, he has taken a step back during the past few years. Currently, he chats with his kid twice a week and engages in chess competition with a neighbor. He is a friend from college who he has known for a long time and who he occasionally writes letters to. The few relationships he has, according to him, bring him more peace than 100 others. Any shallow ones could ever do that. People who prefer to be alone frequently place a higher emphasis on authenticity than they do on stimulation. They've had enough experiences to realize that some friendships end when it's no longer convenient for them. Not all people who call you a friend actually behave in a friend-like manner. Furthermore, rather of clinging to quantity, they opt for deliberate silence rather than attempting to force connection. And the strength lies in the decision that you made. Even when you are by yourself, you are not lonely. What it implies is having the courage to let go of things that are no longer nourishing to your spirit. People who step away from large groups of people in order to preserve their tranquility are not isolating themselves. Indeed, they are being true to themselves. There are occasions when doing so is the most prudent thing that someone can do. The fourth reason is because it is highly self-sufficient and emotionally independent. A person who is able to find solace in their own presence possesses a certain kind of power that is not immediately obvious. Many people find that they are able to rely on themselves after the age of 70. That is not raucous or boastful, rather, it is consistent. This indicates that they are no longer reliant on other people to be acknowledged, comforted, or understood. They have developed into their own anchor. This does not imply that they do not take pleasure in the company of others. Nonetheless, they do not require continuous affirmation or emotional support. The ability to digest their thoughts, the ability to sit with discomfort, and the ability to navigate through their own storms without demanding that someone else fix it are all skills that they have acquired. Take Marie, who is 77 years old. She had lost her husband a few years ago, and at first, she was afraid that the silence would be too much for her to handle. Nevertheless, as time went on, she began to establish a rhythm, taking walks in the morning and writing in a journal. Despite the fact that she still misses him terribly, she is no longer terrified of being by herself. She claims that being alone helped her reconnect with the fact that she is still complete. Very few people possess this level of emotional autonomy, and it is frequently misconstrued. However, this realization comes from years of experience, from going through difficult times, and from coming to terms with the fact that no one can carry your heart better than you can. Feelings are not something that people who are emotionally independent try to avoid. They are aware of everything. Nevertheless, they have acquired the skills necessary to control those emotions without sacrificing who they are in the process. The silence has allowed them to build strength. They are not lonely when they choose to spend time by themselves. It is not because they are lonely. This is due to the fact that they have already achieved a state of inner calm. I would appreciate it if you could use the fourth comment section below to let me know that you are continuing viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Let's proceed with our plans now. Time for introspection, personal development, and self-improvement is the fifth reason. Not only is solitude relaxing after the age of 70, in many cases, it is transformative. Numerous individuals who opt to remain by themselves are not retiring from existence. In doing so, they are entering a more profound aspect of it, a section that is not required to be posted, explained, or shared because it is full of introspection, insight, and quiet personal development. When there are fewer pressures placed on them from the outside world and fewer distractions. Older folks who like alone tend to spend more time reflecting on themselves. They bring up recollections from the past. They accept the decisions they made in the past. The approach in which they contemplate their goal is not one that is weighty, but rather one that is soft and honest. Within the course of the procedure, something changes. The mind becomes more acute. The heart becomes more pliable, and the beginnings of a new sort of wisdom are being formed. Consider Raymond, who is 79 years old, reading philosophy in the mornings, tending to a little garden in the afternoons, and penning his views in a notebook that no one else sees, or the activities that he engages in during the evenings. Although he is in his hectic 30s, he claims that he is learning more about himself now than he ever did before. This is not because life is simpler, rather, it is because he has finally found the time to listen. People who choose to spend time alone frequently develop a greater capacity for reflection, heightened observance, and a heightened awareness of what's important and what's not. When it comes to this quiet revelation, there is not necessarily a lot of fanfare. There are instances when it manifests itself in the manner in which they pause before speaking, or in the manner in which they no longer react to every minor circumstance. Your perspective on life will shift when you make the conscious decision to spend time alone yourself. Stop moving so quickly. You begin to take notice, and the lessons that you had previously overlooked due to the noise of your daily life are now able to be heard clearly. A classroom is created out of solitude. Furthermore, even when they are 70, 80, or even older, knowledgeable individuals continue to attend classes. The sixth reason is having more distinct limits and a more robust protection of both time and energy. One of the most empowering things a person can do after the age of 70 is to prioritize the protection of their time. Moreover, folks who opt for isolation frequently do so because they have realized how valuable the time they have to themselves truly is. Relationships that exhaust them, conversations that lead nowhere, and commitments that drag them too far away from tranquility are no longer something that they are interested in. It is not always simple to establish the boundaries. The majority of people are educated to say yes, to be pleasant, adaptable, and accommodating for a significant portion of their lives. Nevertheless, as time goes on, knowledge begins to emerge. When it comes to saying no, sensible individuals start doing so not out of resentment but rather out of clarity. They are aware of what makes them feel relaxed, what makes them feel compelled, what makes them feel tranquil, and what makes them feel weary. Joyce, who is 75 years old, previously, she would respond to each and every phone call, attend each and every family meeting, and volunteer at each and every event. But at this point, she begins by checking in with herself. Despite the fact that she continues to love others, she no longer feels bad about prioritizing rest over commitment. As far as she is concerned, the limit protects both her health and her happiness. It is common for people who like being alone over the age of 70 to have a more acute awareness of emotional noise. They are able to detect whether someone is excessively pulling or when something does not feel quite right. And rather than attempting to push through the agony, they take a step back in silence. In their core, they have faith. They are respectful of their boundaries. Moreover, by doing so, they guard their tranquility as if it were a holy thing. That is the reason. This method of establishing boundaries does not involve the construction of walls. Creating a life that is suitable is the goal here, as well as one that allows for moments of relaxation, introspection, and quiet joy. Additionally, if this necessitates spending more time by oneself, then fine with me, because they are aware that peace is something that should be protected. I would appreciate it if you could use the 6th comment section below to let me know that you are continuing viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Let's proceed with our plans now. This is the 7th reason. A life that is lived with more intention and less distraction. The number of persons who enjoy being alone does not decrease after the age of 70. They are focusing on what is more important. They have realized that a life that is meaningful does not necessarily require a lot of activity. Simply put, it must be the case. Moreover, spending time by themselves enables people to maintain their concentration on the things that truly matter. Trends, social turmoil, and the obligation to keep up with the times are no longer something they pursue. As a result of having experienced a sufficient number of birthdays, holidays, and changes in their lives, they are aware that a significant portion of what was earlier considered to be urgent was not. They want to move at a more leisurely pace instead. They prepare meals with great attention to detail. It is a peaceful stroll for them. Instead of sitting with their thoughts, their pets, or their books in order to pass the time, they sit with them in order to be present with it. Take the 80th Walter. He used to begin each morning by reading the news, checking his email, and making a series of consecutive phone calls. Currently, he begins with a moment of silence, a glass of water, and a sliver of sunlight. He also states that the peace that he is experiencing right now is something that he wishes he had made time for many years ago. Intention is learned through solitude. It eliminates the noise and assists you in recognizing what it is that you genuinely require and what it is that you are finally prepared to let go of. People who are able to enjoy their own company after the age of 70 are frequently the ones who no longer have any obligations to prove anything. They are not readily swayed by things that are not beneficial to their soul. Nor are they prone to being rushed. They live their lives with the kind of care, attention, and appreciation for the present moment that an overwhelming majority of people spend their whole lives trying to achieve. The two are not separated in any way. They have a profound connection to themselves, to the things that are important, and to the rhythm of a life that is more relaxing and fulfilling. And it is in that time of silence that they frequently discover more insight than any discourse could ever provide. Put forward your concluding remarks. It's not a sign of weakness if you've ever had the experience of feeling like you're disappearing from the crowd as you get older. It is possible that this is one of your most significant strengths. Choosing solitude after the age of 70 is not the same thing as being isolated. Knowledge is the key here. Getting to a point where you are familiar enough with yourself to quit chasing noise and begin embracing calm truth is the goal. What did you find to be the most noteworthy? Is it the manner that being alone brings about peace? Or about the sense of freedom that comes from finally saying no? It's possible that you've begun to establish boundaries, or that you've become more aware of your desire for silence than you were before. Indeed, there is no need to conceal that. It is something that should be honored. The purpose of this video is not to promote feelings of isolation. It's about acknowledging the restorative power that comes from spending time by oneself. The kind of power that results from introspection, setting goals for oneself, and living one's life according to one's will. Putting an end to rushing, pleasing, and performing will allow you to begin developing into a more authentic version of yourself. You should be proud of the version of yourself that is grounded, considerate, and tranquil. This is the version that you should be proud of. So the next time someone tells you that you spend too much time alone yourself, grin softly, simply because it's possible that you discovered something that they haven't discovered yet. It is the kind of wisdom that can only develop in peaceful environments. We appreciate you being here with us today. It would be wonderful if you could get in touch with us. Please leave a comment below and tell us about one item you discovered today and how you intend to put it to use in your life right now. We place a high value on your opinions, so please do not be reluctant to share them with us. Our inspiration and encouragement are greatly increased as a result of reading your remarks. I would appreciate it if you would like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it to be informative and enjoyable. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. We appreciate you taking the time to watch, and we hope to see you in the future video.